All right, so listen, this is the one video that you're going to need to watch. You're going to need to watch this if you are currently struggling with the fear of rejection. You're like, hey, I can't take action because deep down, deep inside, you are scared of the results. You're scared of what's going to happen. Because here's a known fact: 19.1%, roughly about 19.1%, according to a National Health Institute study, 19.1% of Americans struggle with overcoming anxiety. Okay, they struggle with anxiety, and you're like, wait, what does anxiety have to do with fear of rejection? You're gonna want to go ahead and watch this video because I'm going to go ahead and share this with you, and I'm also going to go ahead and break it down and give you secrets as well as to how you can overcome it. Now, this is a live video, this is a live stream, so I might be moving around. So just gonna get and give me a second while we go ahead and wait for everybody to pretty much join, and then we'll go ahead and continue on with the live here. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you those secrets, and I'm going to go ahead and share with you those tips as to right now, if you're struggling with rejection, how you can go ahead and overcome it, how you can go ahead and pretty much get yourself in a position in which it is a thing of the past. Okay. So if it's your first time, do me a favor, hit the like button, and obviously go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. All right. Let's go ahead and see here, waiting for a few other people. And let's monitor, make sure everything's looking good. All right. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about. Let's talk about it from a statistics here. Let's talk about it from a statistic. Let's talk about it from a standpoint here of. I want you to think about it from this standpoint, and I want you to think about it from this statistic here. Is what is anxiety? Okay. What is anxiety? Okay. Most people can describe it in a sense as you can have panic attacks, can have numerous things that you feel mentally, and you can also feel it in a basically a psychological perspective, and also can even hinder your behavior, your interaction with other people. Right now, how does anxiety actually relate? All right, so this is my personal opinion. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my personal opinion. Anxiety is a symptom. The fear itself is the root cause. Okay, think about it from a perspective of, if you're already feeling anxious about something, then whatever you're feeling anxious of has already impacted you in some way mentally, right? I am not a health expert. I am not a mental psychological expert, so I'm not giving you any psychology, any trips and tips of how to overcome this, how to overcome that. What I am basically giving you are basically frameworks that I have implemented in my personal life and in my personal mindset that has basically helped me to go ahead and overcome this. Now, I want to use an example of back in the caveman days, right, where people having to suffer with the word fear with basically the fear of rejection or the fear of failure. No, because guess what? It was basically a flight or flight mode. Now, there's going to be the argument that says, hey, Emmanuel, we are not living in the Neanderthals days. We're not living in the caveman days. We're not living in the days in which people pretty much have to, worry about things, or, we're living in the days of abundance, right? We're living in days of abundance. So how does this relate to the anxiety? I personally believe that anxiety is basically the fear of the unknown, fear of the future. Okay. The key word there is fear. Whatever, because there's the thing is, whatever you're afraid of, you will see more of. Okay. People, like, let's say this, let's say you are afraid of, basically falling sick. Okay. What will start to happen is you start becoming paranoid. When you start becoming paranoid, you start to see, any little thing that happens to you, you might diagnose and say, oh, it's a symptom of this, or it's a symptom of that, or it's symptom, because it's innately affecting your root core belief. It's innately affecting your root core mindset. It's innately affecting you as a person. There's a part of the brain that's called the reticular activating system. What is the reticular activating system? I want to go ahead and share my screen here so you can understand what the reticular activating system is. So I want you to think about the reticular activating system as basically the part of your brain. Okay, I want you to think about the reticular activating system as basically the part of your brain, okay, that basically is responsible for showing you more of whatever you focus on. Imagine this. Imagine that, the car you drive. Let's say you drive a Honda Accord. You drive a gray Honda Accord. Before you bought that car, I want you to ask yourself, how many times did you see that exact same car? Think about it. How many times did you see that exact same car? You're probably like, I never really saw it until I started looking for it. That's exactly how the reticular activating system works. Think about the reticular activating system as a filter. Okay. Think about the reticular activating system as a filter. What it is responsible for doing is basically blocking out things in which it's responsible for blocking out things that you're not thinking of, and basically amplifying whatever you are thinking of. So, example of the car. Let's say we have a million cars that basically drive past you, but you have the one card that looks just like yours, just based on the fact that it looks just like yours, based on the basically the rule and law of similarities, you now basically will focus more on that, and hence the reticular activating system will be like, wait, there's another Honda Accord. And boom, now you get to see, now you start to see more of it. Was it that it was never existent to begin with? No, it actually totally was existent to begin with. You just were never focusing on it. So that part of your brain never showed it to you. So now what ends up happening, and how does this exact, relate to basically your fear of rejection? How this relates to your fear of rejection is basically, think about it, is if you are afraid of getting rejected, you start to project that mental mindset and that mental core belief that deep in down you are going to get rejected. Whatever you fear, you attract. You're afraid of it happening. You're like, okay, but it wasn't something that I'm thinking of. It's not something that I'm thinking, that I'm necessarily planning, but it just ended up happening. Are you saying that my first time getting rejected? Here's the thing: human beings, we associate our future with what happened in the past. Okay, there's a weird thing is, to our identity is very related to basically our past experiences. So people who have failed in the past will associate their future self and their future results based off of what they've gotten in the past, based off of past results. That's the reason why failures, usually until they stop thinking of themselves as failures, continue to fail as the future goes. So anxiety is just basically the fear, your projection of what you believe the future is going to happen. You're basically projecting deep down in your mind, and you're basically saying, in the next, whatever time, whatever that outcome, whatever that event, because there was a trigger, there was something that basically triggers that anxiety, there's something that you're afraid of. What you're basically saying is, okay, if I go talk to that client, if I go talk to that customer, if I go ahead and talk to this, this person, whatever it may be, they are going to reject me. That You're projecting it out there. So your behavior is going to come from a perspective of, oh, hey. Now, I want to give you the study. So this is an story of mine. This is actually something that happened to me. So when I was growing up in high school was kind of the cool kid, right? I was pretty much a cool kid. And then high school hit. I can't remember what, 11, 10, 11 grade, and I got hit with acne. Okay, cystic acne. It was so bad that I basically became so introverted. Just think about how bad this was. Like the grades in which you'd be like, I can't my kid. If I was your kid, you'd be like, I can't associate anything with Emmanuel because this kid, I never studied like a book. Well, like when I mean I never opened a book, like I mean $1 million inside of a book, and you gave me that book, I would not see that $1 million. Much was. But then what ended up happening was I ended up getting experienced acne, so which means now my social life was affected. Then I became very, very, very introverted. I became very introverted. I stopped interacting with people. I stopped going out. I stopped hanging out with friends. I cut everybody off because I was so afraid of what people I thought so poorly of myself at the time. Again, I'm basically sharing this with you to understand that some of you might be experiencing this because your current experience, your past experience, is basically projecting your future interaction. I already, in my mind, was already projecting that people, based off of my facial expression, based off of how I looked, I was already projecting that people were going to reject me. People were going to tell me, "Hey, dude, look at you, man. Oh my God." I was already projecting that. And just based off of me, in my mental core belief of my past experiences, I wasn't able to move forward because I had already rejected myself before other people rejected me. But the reason why I rejected myself was because deep down, was because of my past experience. Okay, was because deep down I had already deep down saw myself as getting rejected. Okay, I was already suffering from that anxiety. Now you're probably thinking, okay, how does that help me? Because I want you to think about it from a perspective as to secret of how I was able to overcome that how I was able to overcome the part in which I could not even look you in the eyes as I'm talking to you right now. I could not even shake your hand because I was so conscious of myself. I was so conscious of how you thought about me. I was so conscious of what would happen. I was so conscious of if you disliked me or disliked me. I was so conscious where I looked was basically being repulsive to you. I was so conscious of the fact that I thought that I was less than, genuinely. And I actually was thinking that other people were better than me. I was thinking about, hey, this person has this person has that, hey, this person looks good, this person this, they don't have acne, they don't do that. That was a very pivotal moment in my life. But guess what ended up happening was, it was a pro, but also a con. What ended up happening was my grades became probably the best grades that I probably ever had in my time of the school, because I spent so much time on myself. I became my grades was phenomenal. I was smart. I basically started reading books. I became like one of the valedictorians. I was good. But you're probably thinking about this like, okay, well, you're probably in the same boat because you are so socially awkward and so socially scared to talk to other people. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to you, I'm going to share with you the reason why I'm bringing this, because rejection and anxiety does affect different areas of your life. And that's basically what I'm going to cover in the next, as we continue here. But I excelled at introverted stuff. Like anything that required reading, I did. And you're probably in the same boat right now, in the sense as to anything that does not involve social interaction, anything that does not involve approaching anybody, anything that does not involve talking to anyone, you're like, you feel good. You excel at it. You could be you're probably the best engineer in what you do. You're probably the best business owner. You're probably the best. But whenever it comes to the fact that you have to stand and look someone in the eye and talk to them, or you have to pick up the phone and cold call, or you have to go talk to that girl that you like, or you have to go do this, you freeze up. You get anxious. You get tense. You start sweating because guess what? Your anxiety is coming up because guess what? The trigger is your fear of rejection because your belief in yourself and based off of your past experiences or what you've seen other people experience makes you project the future as being basically a failure, as being the fact in which in the future you probably are having terrible results, or possibly in the future you're probably experiencing in the fact that, hey, things are not working out just based off of the fact of the projections that you are currently having in your mind. And I'm sharing this with you because we currently have about what, 500 people currently watching the stream. Okay. And now, oh, actually, we have 700 people watching the stream. But out of the 700 people, go ahead and hit the like button, guys. Let's get the likes up on this video. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because right now I am on the road trip. I'm currently on the road and I'm working on the road. I have a few places to be at. But I said this, I have a 100-day challenge. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to bring you guys content for the next 100 days, irregardless of where I am. So the setup is not a studio setup. I am literally setting up in the corner of a hotel room, bringing you this content because I know genuinely out there, if this message impacts one person, then my job is pretty much done. I don't need all 700 or 600 or 500 or 400 people that's watching this to actually benefit from it. I just need one person to. Okay. So I'm going to share this. How does rejection affect your life? Think about it in the sense of your relationships. Just think about it in the sense of your relationships. If you're a guy right now, you probably are like, you know, I mean, there's a study that one third of men under between the ages of 18 and 30 are basically in a sexless relationship. Now, why am I bringing this? Because you guys are like, man, is talking about business. Because I personally believe that your personal relationship, the life that you have with the people around you in your personal life will directly influence your business. Because all business is basically an expansion of your current core beliefs, your core values, and your core environment. And if your core environment is that of lack, if your core environment is that of scarcity, if your core environment is that in which you basically don't have your core desires that meet your needs, you are going to struggle in business. I'm telling you this. You are going to struggle in business if your core beliefs, if your core values, if the core people around you, you don't have what you need. There's basically Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I believe as everything projects, it's basically has to do with your personal self. Yourself. Let me see if I can go ahead and find this here as we basically go ahead and continue this live, guys. Like I said, I'm doing a live stream while on the road. So it might be a little bit off here, guys, as far as like, I'm having to research data. You're getting basically live data. You're getting live data. You're getting Emmanuel is sharing with you live content, guys. So obviously, as we're doing this live, just make sure, obviously, stay tuned as we continue this. Okay. So this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Obviously, you have this. You have the physiological needs, okay? You have the physiological needs. You have your safety needs, your love and belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. Desire to become the most that you can be. And your fear of rejection, your fear of something, whatever it is that's making you anxious that you cannot perform in whatever area that you are in life, you got to understand something is because your needs are not your hierarchy of needs are not being met. Okay, your hierarchy of needs are not being met, and that's because you're afraid to take action. You're afraid to take action to go out there and go apply for that job and go talk to your boss and say, "Hey, listen, I want a raise." You're afraid of going to go do that because guess what? You genuinely do not believe that you deserve it. You genuinely do not believe that you deserve it because your past experiences and your environment and things, ways in which you grew up, makes you feel less than, less than. You probably feel that you are less than as you're watching this video right now because you do not genuinely believe in yourself. You genuinely do not believe in yourself. I mean, I'm legitimately, I have a feeling that I'm literally talking to someone now. You genuinely do not believe in yourself. You do not believe that you are worth that promotion. You do not believe that you're worth that money. You don't believe that those customers should come to you. You don't believe that you should even get the job. You probably don't even believe that that girl or whoever it is that you're talking to should. I am willing to guarantee you 100% right now that you do not believe in yourself and you don't believe that you're worth anything. You do not believe you're worth a penny, even if that penny was laying down in the street. And why am I saying this? Why am I bringing this? It's because you have the needs to keep you happy, to keep you satisfied, to keep you fulfilled. Because, why is that? Not taking action. And the reason why you're not taking action is because you're afraid. There's a deep down in the future, and that's where the fear of rejection comes in. And basically, if you need loving and belonging, need the friendship, you're afraid right now to go talk to people and make them and allow them into your life to become friends because you genuinely, if we're being honest, you like I don't have much to offer these people. Okay, you're afraid of go ahead and get recognized for the work that you do. You're letting other people take credit for it because you're afraid of being in the spotlight. Because you're afraid that once you get in the spotlight, the next 20 to 30 comments on that social media feed that you post, people are gonna talk to you and give you a lot of hate. People are gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? You suck." People are gonna be like, "Hey, you know what? You're trash." People are gonna be like, and everything that you genuinely believe of the negative beliefs that you have about yourself are going to come through. Make this is because I genuinely just believe like someone needs to hear this because what you believe about yourself, what you believe about what your past should not define your future. You should learn from it. Your past should not define your future. You should 100% learn from it because the reality is this: is it doesn't matter what situation or whatever it is that you're going for. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. It doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to learn. It doesn't matter what it is that you're trying to get for. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you genuinely deep down in your core do not believe in yourself as being worth anything, I feel bad for you. Genuinely, I do feel bad for you because guess what? You are going to continue your life getting rejected. People are going to talk down on you, and guess what? You would never realize the full potential of what God designed you to actually realize on this planet. You never realize what your full destiny is because you are so afraid of what people will think about you. You're so afraid of what the outcome will be. Maybe you might lose money. Maybe something might happen because deep down you do not believe that you are worth anything. And that's basically an internal belief because there's a saying that says you attract who you are. If you are afraid of doing something, and you're getting negative results is because deep down you genuinely believe that you deserve the negativity because you don't believe anything is you're worth anything. So hence I'm going to basically talk to you. I'm going to share with you the secrets as to how you can go ahead and overcome rejection. How can you do this? How can I go ahead and overcome rejection? How can I go ahead now and go ahead and get myself into a position in which I am actually winning? How can I turn rejection from something in which I'm afraid of to something that I'm actually thriving and succeeding in? I'm just genuinely just talking to you. How can you actually do that? So the first thing I'm going to share with you is this: it's the power of self. Let me write this down. Self belief. Think about it from a perspective of the Earth's core. Okay, you have the Earth's core. Everything rotates around, let's say, the core. Right, that's where everything comes in. What do you genuinely believe about yourself? Because let me tell you this. I want you to right now, as you go about your day, look to your left, look to your right, and I want you to pay attention to how many people look like you. Unless you're a twin, unless you're like unless you're there's a twin, there's another version of you. Unless there's another version of you, I want you to look around and see how many people look like you. There's 8 billion people, almost 8 billion people on this planet. How many of them look like you? Just do it. I'm more than willing to guarantee you that there's a less than a 0.1% chance of you finding someone that looks exactly identical to you in every way, shape, or form. Now, I also want you to ask yourself the second question: if you are so self-obsessed with yourself and thinking negative about yourself, do you really think any of these people are actually thinking about you? Or are they in the same state of mind of thinking negative about themselves? Because I want to tell you the truth. I want to tell you something. There's something you don't know about your mind. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something about your mind. Let me stop share my screen. Your mind is your worst enemy and your best friend. It is your worst enemy. When I mean it's your worst enemy, I mean by God, it is the one thing that will make you sink or make you swim. Most people don't know this. It's from the basically the old mind, and the one mind basically operates on the principle of survival. That is the number one purpose of your brain. Your brain was designed to keep you alive. And one of the ways in which it's supposed to keep you alive is by stopping you from taking risks, is by stopping from taking making doing things that's going to make you uncomfortable, because it believes that by you putting making of your survival. So hence the fear of rejection. Most that died and actually get rejected. So it sees rejection as it sees, because guess what? Let's say you want to go talk to that client, and right before you go talk to that client, boom, five thoughts hit your head. Talk about how you suck, how your wife doesn't love you, how your girlfriend doesn't, how your last client tells you suck, how people don't believe in your product, how much your product is shit, how much of your life is this, how much of your life is trash, how much of your life is this. Everything negative is hitting you. What do you do next? Don't move. Guess what? Your brain actually just did its job. It just did it. It literally just did its job, because it kept you, because it knows that when you take action, there's a risk of things going wrong. And when things go wrong, it's failed in its primary purpose of keeping you alive, of survival. It's failed in its primary purpose. And if it's failed in its primary purpose, think about this. If your brain believes that it's failed in its primary purpose, I mean, just think about that. Your brain is doing its job. Its job is to protect you. Its job is to keep you alive. Its job is to keep you safe. So if your self belief right now, you believing that you are not worth anything, if your self belief right now is you basically, if your self belief is wrong, then you're basically not going to have the tools and the resources to be able to combat your brain. So here's a few things you can do right now. Is let's go ahead and get this here. There's a few things you can do right now. Is you can go ahead right now and let's get this here. Okay, you can go ahead right now. Work on a framework. Okay, start using frameworks of I am, and then insert something positive in there. Okay, I am probably the best salesman. Hey, listen, I am the best salesman. I am the greatest at whatever I do. I have a successful business. I have a thriving relationship. I have a this. I have a that. Just insert that in there, and then just keep repeating it to yourself. Keep repeating it, even if it's not true. Because here's the thing: every lie eventually becomes the truth. Because think about it from a perspective of, if we have five nations that are all fighting each other, we have five warring nations. All of them believe that you're fighting for good. All of them believe that you're fighting for the good of their country, and they see the other person as the enemy. Could they be right? Who knows? Could they be wrong? Who knows? Only history would tell. Only the few that, we ended up saying, hey, this person was wrong, this person was right. Same thing, you have to think about it from a perspective of, you actually have the ability to program your brain to basically see it as it is fighting for you, and it is on the right side. And you have to consciously do this on a day to day, day to day, day to day, day to day basis. You need to kind of almost affirm. And you're like, dude, it's like, isn't there like a one stop fix, like one thing I can do, and it's permanently done? I wish there was. I wish I could tell you right now that if you did this, one stop permanently it's gone. But here's the thing: is the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the anxiety will 100% still be there. Listen, I was anxious before I hit record on this live stream. Before I went live, I genuinely was like, hey, how are people gonna think about this? Look at my background. Look at this. Look at that. What's going on here? People are gonna be like, dude, what's going on, like this. But then again, I did something else, which is a transition to number two, which is we had self belief. The second thing I did was what? I had indifference. Okay, I'm sharing to the second secret here. Indifference. The first one, I said it, your power of self belief. The second one is indifference. What does indifference basically mean? Indifference basically means I went ahead and I said, if people like it, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take action. That's what indifference means. If people like it or they don't like it, regardless, because I'm not doing it for the outcome, because indifference basically means you now becoming outcome dependent. You start becoming activity. Now, is all my live streams gonna be the best? Hell no. No, it's not. The probably watcher was like, does I just told myself over the next 100 days I'm gonna do 100 streams. Does that mean they're gonna be the best quality? Hell no. But I'm gonna do it because outcome dependent. Because here's the thing: is this is what basically when you are, I'm gonna give you a chart. When you are outcome versus activity. When you are outcome dependent, here's what ends up happening. You worry and stress about what other people. My handwriting sucks. Just giving you a heads up. You worry and you stress about what other people think. When you're activity, stop worrying about what other people think and you focus on your mission. Okay. When you're outcome dependent, you don't make that cold call because you're scared. Like, hey, listen, what about if I don't hit my 50 calls? What about if I don't hit my 50 appointments? What about if I don't hit my 100 appointments? What about if I don't hit my 200 appointments? What about if I don't hit 1,000 appointments? That's you being outcome dependent. When you're activity dependent, you're like, hey, I'm going to make 700 to 1,500 cold calls. And if it means I book 15 or 20 appointments, it don't matter. I'm going to keep calling. That's it. That's it. It don't matter because guess what? Someone's going to say yes. It don't matter. There's 8 billion people on this planet. If you called all 8 billion, which obviously is not possible, and 15 of them don't say yes, then, I mean, yeah, something's wrong. That's where I look at it. I look at it from the law of averages. Is whatever you want, you're guaranteed to get it as long as you don't stop. As my goal is to get this channel to 1 million subscribers, 1 million subs, so I can have my YouTube plaque here and there. But am I gonna get there? 1,000,000%, I'm gonna get there. You know why? Because as long as I keep providing value, dropping the content, engaging with you guys, making sure that you get the best possible content possible, we will get there. It's a mission, it's a goal, and we will get there. It's a small channel right now, but we will get there. My goal is to do 1,000 interviews, 1,000 podcasts, to be one of the number one podcasts on Spotify and the number one podcast on Apple Podcasts. Hopefully, they're still here in the next 5-10 years. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm just still going to keep showing up and keep doing it because that's the goal, is basically to get there. Because the outcome is not really something I'm worried about. The activity is the one thing. Is you just got to show up. If you just literally got to show up, and that's where the next thing, it basically leads me to the third one. Remember, the first one said self-belief. The second one says you got to be indifferent. Now the third one, which is very important, the reason why I mentioned indifference is the third one, is basically going to be you have to use exposure therapy. Okay. Or for lack of a better word, you need to make your fear the goal. Remember when I told you that I had the acne and I was scared and I was like worried about what other people thought about me? You ever ask yourself, how did I overcome that? I told you I was gonna share it with you. I told you 100% I was gonna tell you exactly what happened. Here's what happened. A few years down the line, I started in a different career. Obviously, moved on, got older, got in the aviation industry. What ended up happening was I remember I was like, I need to overcome this. This needs to go away. This needs to be done. I remember I watched a YouTube video, and also there was a book called Go for No. The name, the book called Go for No. It was called Go for No. You can find it on wherever it is that you basically read your books. I recommend you read the book. The book basically said, rather than making the yeses, which you don't control, because someone saying yes is completely out of your control. Remember the outcome. You don't control the outcome. You control the activity, right? Rather than me focusing on the yes, let me, because guess what? You are going to get, I'm going to tell you, newsflash, you are going to get rejected more than you get accepted. I'm going to use an example. For those of you who want to be in a relationship, I'm going to use this example. Let's say you want to find the woman of your dreams and you want to get married, right? If you interact on a socially, you pick up hobbies, you interact with women on a casual, nothing crazy, don't know anything creepy, on a casual basis. Hey, how you doing? All that stuff, right? And you interact with 100 women a month on a casual social interaction as you go to your day activity. What are the odds that you don't get 1 to 10 dates to go on? What are the odds? I'm not talking about swiping on whatever dating sites you're doing. Dating site apart. We don't dating site. If you're using dating sites, I don't even know what to tell you. What are the odds that you don't get 1 to 10 dates? And then what are the odds that out of these 10 dates you don't find someone to be in a relationship with? The law of numbers. It's like a funnel. It slowly dwindles down. But you make it because guess what? If you interact with, may say you interact with 100 minutes casual, like, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Nice coffee. I like the dress. Good for you. Awesome. Good. Great family. Great kids. You guys look great together. And some of them like, ew, no, God, no. Why are you talking to me? Ew. You're probably going to get that maybe 80% of the time. They're going to be like, oh my God, get away from me. Ew. You're probably going to get that. But guess what? If it takes 80 years, 99 years to find the one person for you to be in a relationship with, was it worth it? Because you only need one yes. You don't need 100 yes. You only need one yes. If you are basically going for a sales job, a sales position, right? And you say, hey, listen, I'm going to make 1,000 cold calls. 999 of them are probably going to hang up on me, or 900 of them are going to hang up on me. If I get 100 of them, well, let's say not, let's say 100, let's say I get 10 of them to book a call with me, and one of them buy, did it matter that 900 of them told me no? 9 told me no, because guess what? I only need one yes. And if you have to understand that everything has a cost. Everything you want in life has a cost. Even acceptance, being accepted has a cause, has a cost. And if basically think about it from a perspective of, if the cost of a yes is 1,000 no's, are you willing to pay that? And that's the reason why I said indifference is the key. Because if you're not worried about it and you're like, hey, my goal is to go get 1,000, my goal is to go get 1,000 no's, my goal is to go get 1,000 people to tell me no, my goal is to go get rejected. Make the goal you actually getting rejected. That's a summary. Make that your goal. Make that what it is that you want to do. Go get rejected. This is what I did every Wednesday after school. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go on a social. I'm gonna go interact. I'll go to the library as I go study. I'm gonna talk to people as I'm going to go study. Right. So I ended up interacting with women, men, anyone I could interact with. Okay. Out of everything, I'd say maybe 400 to maybe 800 women were like, oh, yeah, like that was probably an interaction, right? Out of that, maybe 80% was like, or 90% was like, no, God, no. Oh, or they gave me one off responses, not interacting, which was fine. That was not, my goal was not to get accepted. My goal was just to interact with people, to break myself out. That was exposure therapy for me to basically do what makes me uncomfortable so I get comfortable with it. The reason why I'm doing 100 lives is not because I'm trying to make, $1 million from doing lives. I don't think the live is going to make me million. I don't think so. But maybe one person might be like, hey, listen, I might want to work with you in the future. Hey, I like your content. Do you have anything which you have to sell that I want to buy? I don't know. Right. But for me, doing 100 lives is me basically getting myself out of the comfort zone of saying, hey, let's go ahead and record the content and edit the content and edit the content and then make sure the content's good and then do all this stuff and then posting all over social media. I'm just like, I'm just going to show up and do it. And if I get 900 and if I get 99 lives, that's a bust, and I get one live that's good, then did the 99 ever matter? No. You have to make it a rejection. And this is what I turned it into a game. I called it a go for no game. So what I did was every day I would take a flashcard and I write down how many no's was the goal that day. All right. Let's say you're gonna do sales calls and you say, hey, I'm gonna go for 50. I'm gonna write down 50 no's, right? 50 no's. I'm gonna do 50 no's. And if I get my goal of 50 no's, here's the game. If you get your goal of 50 no's and you actually hit your goal of 50 people actually telling you, no, I don't want to buy a product, no, I'm not interested. If you hit your goals of 50 no's, because guess what? On the process of going 50 no's, because guess what? Well, here's the reality is you're not going to get 50 no's in a row. You might get maybes. You might get a yes. You might get an okay, I'll think about it. Because that's actually how I got into sales. I got into sales not because I wanted to be the top salesperson. I just got into sales. I was like, dude, I need to do something I'm uncomfortable in. And I got into sales and I was like, hey, let me get 25 no's every day. And in the process of making 25 no's in a day every day, I started making a lot of money as an insurance agent, selling door to door sales. I don't know if you've ever done door to door sales, but door to door sales is brutal, especially if you're doing it in this in the summer heat. But I was like, the goal is to go for no. But guess what ended up happening? I rewarded myself when I hit my goal. Because in the process of going for 50 no's, I probably get 3 yeses. Because guess what? The more repetitions you do, the better you get. I get like maybe 2 to 3 yeses. Okay, good. Did I win something? Not really. Because then again, because this is the game. This is the game. The name of the game is to go for no. Okay, that's the name of the game. You use the yeses to buy the prize. Okay, think about this. The name of the game is to go for no, but your reward at the end, you buy it with the yeses. You're like, that's kind of interesting. Think about it. If my goal is to go for 50 no's, I hit my goal. And in the process, I get 3 yeses. And each yes is $1,000. That is basically what? 3 grand. Let's say you're in sales. Okay. What's my result? I can be like, what's my reward? I can say, hey, you know what? I would take myself on a vacation. That will cost me 1 grand, maybe. Or I'm gonna take my girlfriend, whoever it is, your wife, whoever it is, your partner, on a vacation. on a date. You're using the yeses to pay for the reward. But you have to understand is for it to happen is you need basically a goal, okay, which is your no. Plus you need basically your reward, okay, whatever your reward is, which could be vacation, whatever it is, time off, or I don't recommend time off, but like a date maybe. All right, but then everything is paid for by the yes because you're going to get a yes eventually, but you just make the goal to no. The outcome will pay for the reward, but the goal is whatever it is, whatever your goal is. Basically, that's where it comes in is actually make rejection the goal. Exposure therapy. Go out there and be like, hey, you know what? Play the game. I'm gonna go out there and get 15 no's. I'm gonna go out there and do this. I'm gonna go out there and do that. Creepy, make it weird, guys. Don't do that. I'm saying is if you're uncomfortable making sales calls, go out there and make sales calls. If you're uncomfortable making cold emails, go out there and make cold emails. If you're uncomfortable approaching and talking to women, go in social environment conversations. The goal is not to get her number. The goal is not to get her to get Instagram. The goal is just to say, hey, what's going on? If you even said, hey, the goal is to say, how are you doing? And if they said, ew, that's a no, get as many ews as possible. At some point, someone's going to be like, wow, that is a very handsome looking ew. Obviously, bad joke, bad joke, bad joke, bad joke, bad joke. But that's basically it. Now I'm going to go ahead and include a bonus. There's a bonus. There's a bonus. Okay. We basically just recap. The first thing is obviously self belief. Okay. Those are the secrets. Two is indifference, not caring about the results. And then three is making go for no, making the rejection the goal. Now, here's where it gets better. Here's where it gets better. Hopefully, you're taking notes, guys. Hopefully, you're taking notes because I am sweating bullets right now because it is hot. When I mean it's hot, it is hot. Woo! Jeez, it's hot because obviously I have all this lighting here, shining on my face. But here's the bonus. Remember when I said that the outcome is not in your control, right? Okay, I'm about to get religious. I'm about to get spiritual here. So if you're not a, if you're like, if that's something that triggers you, or something that you don't like, you don't want to talk about religion, and you don't want to talk about, you don't want to, religion is something that is like a no no for you, or that's it. You're not a spiritual person. That's fine. Feel free to tune off right now and go watch something else. But if it is something in which you believe that you actually open to learn, I'm going to tell you this. Here's a bonus. Have you ever had something happen in your life that you're like just weird? Like let's say you had almost a near hit or miss. You almost had an accident and boom, you like all of a sudden you're like, whoa, how did that happen and how'd you survive it? Or miraculously you got a job promotion or something happened in your life that you could. Here's where the bonus comes in. I'm not trying to preach. You don't have, but God has control of the outcome. Now you're probably like, okay, happened to me. All the bad things that happened to me, right? Did God control? Maybe. You're like, whoa, so I'm losing a lot of people. And I'm like, are you telling me God controls the bad? Drawing board here. Let's go back to the drawing board. I want you guys to see this. I want you guys to see this. Pay attention to this. Let's go ahead and go back to the drawing board. The outcome. Let's say the negative outcome happens, right? Think about it from perspective. Wherever you are right now, whatever country you're in, I'm assuming you have street lights, right? I'm assuming you have street lights. You have green, red, and amber, right? Okay. What is the purpose of the street lights? Let's say you have in an intersection. Okay, you have traffic going this way, and you have traffic going this way. They both have lights, right? And let's say you have another intersection of traffic going that way, and you have another intersection of traffic going that way. Okay, now imagine this. Imagine this. Think about this. Imagine if you had all green lights going this way. All right. I didn't even know. I don't know how I did that, but imagine you have all green lights going this way, and let's see if I can do that. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Oh, no, that didn't work. Imagine you had all green lights going one way and everybody else had green lights. Their lights, green. Your lights, green. Tell me what's going to happen. Just tell me what's going to happen. Tell me what's going to happen. Accident, boom, accident, boom, accident. Why? Because everybody's got green lights, right? Everyone's got green lights. You're like, okay, all right, okay. Now humor me now. So let's say this. Let's say this. Let's say, okay, that there's a green light here, okay, because there's incoming traffic, right? There's a green light right here, but there's a red light stopping you, okay? You have a green light, but there's a red light stopping you. Was that red light a good thing? Yes or no? Yes or no? Was the red light a good thing? If you say yes, it's a good thing. Let me know. Or if you say no, it's a bad thing. I should have a green light so I can go ahead and run into that traffic. Because guess what? If you had a green light and they had a green light, boom, that's a collision. What about if that outcome of that negative thing happened to you was to basically stop you so something else can pass so that you don't end up getting hurt in a much bigger way? Because sometimes things don't happen, they happen for you, they happen because of you. Saying, oh, woe is me. This didn't happen. Woe is me. I didn't get that. I worked at I remember this. I had a job that was paying me $300 a month. Okay. Could I be like, woe is me? Should I be like, woe is me? And I applied to told me no. The job ended up giving me the experiences that I went to a different company later, and I was getting paid 10 times. And all the other places told me no. And then I barely probably maybe gotten a 40 to 50% raise. Should I be like, woe is me? Or was that really happening for a good? Was that happening for a good? The outcome sometimes is negative, sometimes is positive. But sometimes the red light does let the traffic pass. Because now guess what? Red light happens. Traffic is passed. Now you have your green light. And then you can go. Sometimes the negative, the fear, the things that happen to you in your past should not be what defines your identity by you basically, feeling bad about it. Maybe it's happening for a good reason, for you to change directions. Maybe there's a roadblock right here. But if you had kept going with the roadblock and it's raining, you would have gone into a ditch. So you end up having to turn and take a much nicer, smoother way and made it home to your family. I don't know who was getting this message. I don't even know why. Honestly, I just felt like this is something you guys are gonna want to know, and hence the reason why I'm sharing it. I was initially wanting to talk about business, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna just go on a motivational rant for a little bit. This is you don't control the outcome. You don't control the stop signs. You don't control roadblocks. You don't control the lights. What God does. So sometimes you just be like, hey, you know what? Rather than me trying to be in control of everything, I'm just gonna go to God, go on my knees, and be like, God, my financial struggles are this way. This and this is going on. Control the lights. That's all I want. Because I don't control it. Help me with this. That's it. If you and the reason I'm saying this is maybe you're afraid of like, hey, that job, that really, really big position you want, all those that clientele that you're really trying to get for your agency, for your company. Like, hey God, listen, it's not in my hands. Help me get this clientele. That's it. I'm not trying to be a preacher. Listen, I have no interest in preaching to you. I am just literally trying to share with you what I do. When things happen in my mind, in my life that I'm like, I genuinely do not have control of, I was like, hey, hands are off. You control the lights. Let me know when it's good to green to go. Let me know when it's red to stop. That's it. So that's basically the recap. Hopefully this helped you guys. And obviously, if it helped you, share this video with your friend. Like I said, I kind of went on a 43-minute rant. Okay, I would say it's a 43 minute. And if you've got value from this, just comment, hey, Manuel, I got value from this. If you didn't get value from this, tell me, hey, you suck. That's fine. You're not gonna hurt my feelings because guess what? What is number two? Indifference. Indifference. So we've been able to have 530 people consistently watching this. Thanks a lot, guys, for you guys being here. Obviously, I enjoy the fact that you guys engage with me, even though I'm going live at like 10:30, 11 a.m. in the morning. I should do this more in the evenings. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comment section below, guys, what you think about the live sessions, and obviously to the podcast. I know we're kind of a little late. I'm editing most of everything myself. I had an editing team, but it's like there was I control which is the editing. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna edit it. So there's gonna be a little bit of lag, guys, between the week. I'm gonna be releasing I believe that's episode 18 or 19, and once that's done, we have a phenomenal guest coming in as well for the next week, I believe the week after. But yeah, just make sure to obviously, like I said, hit the like, share with your friends, and that's been what I have for you guys today. I'm gonna do another live tomorrow. I can't guarantee it's going to be as good as this one, but I'm going to do another live tomorrow. So definitely, guys, it was good having you all. It was good having everyone. And obviously,